What is up, everybody? Curtis here, and welcome back to Digibit Tech. I'm excited today. You want to know why I'm excited? Because we are going to be doing CAD modeling. We're going to rock some stuff out in Fusion 360. As some of you know, I do CAD modeling for my 9 to 5 every day. I love it. I like any excuse to be creative and to build stuff. Hence, YouTube. But like I said, we're going to be making a water cooling component today. Last time we made a reservoir that fit in a 140 millimeter fan mount. This time we're actually going to make a distribution block that is going to fit in a 360 millimeter radiator mount. In Wifey build, it has that big sexy tempered glass front panel. This would fit nicely in the front and be able to kind of display the coolant with some cool lights and things like that in order to bring up those aesthetics. So I'm using Fusion 360. You can also use Google SketchUp. I will put the link to that down in the video description. It's totally free, and honestly, if you're interested in learning, that's where I started. It's a great place to learn how to do CAD modeling, and who knows what opportunities it can lead you in the future. Again, this is not a paid sponsorship by Google by any means. They probably have zero idea of who I am. So there's three main reasons why I like creating my own designs. One, like I said, I like CAD modeling. Two, I like being creative. Three, it is actually going to save you some money. If you want to get this thing produced, it's so much better to hand your machine shop a step file in which they can get all the measurements they need and then be able to produce it from there, because after all, material cost isn't so much what kills your budget, it is machine time. And the longer they have to figure out your design and program it for the machine, the more you're gonna pay out of pocket. So without further ado, let's get into it. So with Fusion 360 loaded up here, I have a 20.5 by 5 inch rectangle drew out here. So what this is going to be is our top plate, or what we're going to base the entire thing off of. So I have to go ahead and add the holes in which I'm going to mount this thing to the fan holes. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. It's gonna take a minute for me, but luckily through the magic of editing, this is only gonna be a few seconds. So I went ahead and created what the valleys are going to look like. Now I just kind of chose some random shapes. You can make it whatever you want, but as you just saw, there's 3 sectors, and I have to smooth these out here and be able to give myself enough room to create the screw holes to mount everything together. So wish me luck. So now we've got all of the outline of where the channels are going. We've got all of the fan hole locations. I like to try to spread out the fan holes from where the channels are going to go, just because it adds a little bit more structural integrity. Because acrylic, as you heat it up and cool it down, heat it up and cool it down, it will crack. So with all of this done, now we can start working on our channels. I can take one of these lines, I'm gonna go over here to my Create tab and go to Pipe. Now what I want to do is be able to create a 3mm thick gasket, which is going to be 0.1182 inches. And we are going to make a new component out of this. It kind of lays right there. We can actually do this twice. So if you go to cut, we're gonna create the groove into the acrylic. And as you see, now we have our groove. So let me go ahead and do this to the other two channels. So now we got our O-ring grooves cut out here. I kinda had to go back and make this one right here a little bit derpy. If the angle is too sharp, the O-ring will intersect with itself and it won't let you do it. So kind of the same way I did before, I'm gonna go through and select the spline tool and just go to town. I'm gonna make all kinds of little dots here. Now we have our actual channels built up. So let's go ahead, exit out of that. I'm gonna select each one and we're going to press pull down 0.25 or 1/4 inch. Now we have that. I can go back and tighten up the channels and everything, make sure that everything looks pretty. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so with the channels finally done, now we can add our ports. So now I'm going to select my hole tool using the hotkey H. So I'm going to select the face. Now we want to create a tapped hole. This is going to be flat, no taper in the end. We're going to go over to BSP and go to 1/4. We're going to put 1 right here at the top, click OK. So I gotta create 5 more of these, so I'll do that real quick. You can situate this however you want, but I would rather have this as the top. So what we would do is connect a fitting from into here, and then from there to there, there to there, or here to here, and then come out the top here. This is going to be the back of the plate, because after all, we want this nice sexy piece right there in the front, and all you're gonna see are the pockets of coolant. So now that that's out of the way, we can actually go ahead and attach this block to here. Okay, so our two pieces are together. Now we get to make our mounting holes. Okay, so now we have a whole bunch of countersunk holes. So luckily beforehand I got the models of the screws that I'm going to use, so I'm just going to throw one in here real quick. And that is our distribution block. Couple things to point out real quick. Some of you probably noticed, well Curtis, how are you going to mount this to the case? Those are the holes you need to mount. Well, what we're actually going to do is, if we were to install this into a case, we would use longer screws. Now, that would allow us to be able to screw completely through this panel, have extra that's hanging out, and we would actually affix a little hex nut with a washer. And that would allow us to mount to the fan hole mounts. Also, this is very much not going to be enough hardware to keep this thing from leaking. Now, what we would have to do is probably add a few more screws right down this channel here. Same thing, probably add another couple going like that. And then a few more through spread out. But just for demonstration purposes, I didn't include those in this model. This is not perfect. I just wanted to go ahead and throw it together just to show you all what all is involved with kind of designing one of these. The great thing is, once you get it roughed in, you can fine tune from there. So I hope you all enjoyed this little tutorial of sorts. This is not a full-blown tutorial on how to design on Fusion 360. I might be inclined to do that for a future video. After all, I do really enjoy doing this sort of stuff. But let me know down in the comments, what would you like to see me build in future projects like this? I think in the future I am going to make them multiple parts like I did for the first thing we built, just so I can be a little more excellent with the design. I appreciate you all making it to the end of this video. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you disliked the video, there's a button down there for that as well. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are so close to 100 subs, and I kind of want to hit that before the new year. And I believe we can, and we shall, possibly. Hit me up on social media. I'll put the tag to that right here. And with that being said, I will see you on the next video. See ya.